All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Superintendent Bill Furbush. Welcome and thank you for coming out on this rainy evening. But it's for a great information about this great school right here, Pelham Memorial School. And you're going to learn a lot about what our needs are here and why we're here this evening. But before I go any further, I would like to introduce Lisa Salwin from Harriman. They're the architectural firm that we're working with. They will help guide us through this evening to collect a lot of information from you. This is to hear what your thoughts are and hear what your input is and what the needs might be for Pelham Memorial School. Then I'm also here with Principal Stacy Mahakian, who we're going to talk about some of our needs here at the at Memorial School and why we are going through this potential project. Lisa?
Thank you. I'm going to see if I can get the clicker to work. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
There we go. So the agenda for this evening, just like Bill said, there's going to be an introduction of why this project is underway. And then there's going to be a tour led by some wonderful students that we have here tonight. They're going to take you on a tour of the building so you can see the existing layout, what spaces they have. They'll highlight some of the spaces that they are lacking or some spaces that may need improvement. There's a great map here that color codes the different areas and also a key, and it will tell you where some of those spaces are that need to be improved and why. After the tour, you're going to come back here. We're going to take you through the project schedule and an overview of the project, where we're at and where we're headed. After that, we're going to have an educational session on what 21st century middle schools look like today. So we'll take you through imagery of different spaces that you find in middle schools today and really just highlight those areas that may not be here today and what is needed to take this from what's referred to as an upper elementary school and convert it into a middle school. And then we're going to lead you through a design exercise. Really, we want to hear from you, the community. What makes Pelham Memorial School Pelham Memorial School? What is the essence of this school for the community? And so we'll walk you through an interactive exercise with the result being the design statement. And we use that as the thread through the entire design of the project, making sure that we use it as the lens to check back in, and every decision we're making really speaks to what the essence of this school is for you. After that, we'll report on the outcome, and then we'll outline what the next steps are for the project going forward. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Bill.
Thank you. I can't get the clicker to work. All right, so why is this an important project? And this is what started the conversation here. And really, it's the needs of our students. It's the needs of the building and the facilities. And we really want to communicate a little bit how those needs impact the learning of our students each and every day, and not necessarily positively. First off, we want to talk about the safe and healthy of the learning environment. You know, you've all been in the vehicle traffic out here, how it's pulled over to the side. It's mixed in with the buses. It's really not an ideal pattern for safety. And I have heard a story today of a staff member getting hit at one point. And so it is not a safe vehicle pattern for our students drop off and pick up. The other thing is you're going to get a tour this evening, and thank you again for our great volunteers for doing that. But I want you to pay particular attention to the layout. It's like a big L. And it's an interesting layout because the hallways are very narrow. But there's one main hallway that, as people are passing to the cafeteria or to the gymnasium, other students are actually going up against the stream of students, and that's very challenging in narrow hallways. And so I want you to pay attention to the hallways this evening. Look at that pattern, and then imagine it filled with middle school age students who have challenges sometimes walking by their friends without touching them, hitting them. You know, we all know what middle school students are like. So pay attention to the congestion that you can imagine that happens as this big room is emptying out. At the same time, another big group is coming in that narrow little hallway right there. Other things we want to talk about is the stairs. On the very first day I actually visited this school, I got to witness a very gifted student jumping up and down the stairs on crutches because the elevator is too far. And there is no elevator. And the lift takes way too long. And so that's dangerous. And that is something that we want to make sure that we address for the safety of our students. Is jumping up and down crowded stairs on crutches is not exactly what we'd want our students to be doing. The open and unsecured campus. You know we have a couple of portables. You know safety is a very important feature for us. We've been working really hard around improving the safety of our schools with the vestibules, with our protocols, with our training, and with our students. And one of the things that is almost impossible to secure is when we have an open campus. Literally, students have to leave this building to go into other buildings several times a day and then come back in. And that makes that safety that much more challenging to put in place. HVAC, it's old, it's tough, we have environments that are really warm, environments that are really cold, and I'll make an average joke, if you average them together, it might be okay, but it doesn't make it uncomfortable, and that impacts the students and their ability to learn. If they can't concentrate because of the way the temperatures are being regulated or not regulated, it makes it that much more challenging. Not to mention the efficiencies. You're going to learn a little bit from the architects around the efficiencies of the building and not so efficient building. I learned today that these walls have an R value of 5. So, and I see some people recognizing what that is, and it shocked me because that is nowhere near what the industry standard is. And so our HVAC systems struggle, not only because they're old and inefficient, but because the building itself leaks a lot of that. And so by improving our building, we'll also improve the operation of the building, and actually it might be cheaper to operate. Out of compliance with ADA, Americans Disability Act, we have to be in compliance. Whenever there's any type of upgrade to a building, we have to bring things up to date. And we only have 3 handicapped accessible restrooms, which does not meet the minimal standards. We really need to make them all handicapped accessible. We want to make sure that the doors are properly aligned for students in wheelchairs. We want to make sure we have elevators as well so that students can get to where they need to get to. We need to get this building up to code with ADA. The undersized gym for assemblies and events. By show of hands, who's ever been in that gym? Who's ever got hit by a basketball in that gym? Every single one of the students. Or stepped on. I've been to the games myself, and the refs are always yelling at people because we're right on the court. We're part of the game. The spectators are part of the game. It's an undersized space for not only our sporting events, but for assemblies and other things that we'd like to offer our students. Ms. Mahakian?
Hello, everyone. I can talk about all this again.
You can. We are on a time schedule. Let me get to that.
Other way.
There you go.
So, when we first started this committee 2 years ago, actually I think 3 years ago when we started the initial committee, we sent out a survey to the parents and community, and we got a lot of feedback and a lot of what do you know, what don't you know, and were you aware? And we have a lot of information and a lot of comments from our community members that have given us a lot of feedback on what they desire for our building. So with that, we've continued our efforts with this committee and bringing to light a lot of the issues that we have that a lot of people don't necessarily know about. So it's an older building and it's not meeting our needs. As you know, education is a growing, living thing. So we have technology. We are really great with technology in the Pelham School District, but with our technology, we have limitations that our building doesn't let us expand upon. Security updates. We've done great with our security updates with cameras and our new vestibule, but we're not there yet. So, like Mr. Herber said, we have kids that come in and out of our building all the time. We have unsecure areas throughout the day. So. One of the things we do during cafeteria lunchtime, they go out for recess. This door right here is open. They go out, they go in. Thank you. So those are some unsecure areas that happen throughout the day. So we want to be sure that we are also attracting new families for the quality of our schools. We are very, very Pelham proud of everything that we do here. One of the things that I was talking with our ladies here, because one of the things we do is we promote our school. We love our school. We love what we do. And coming to you and telling you what our needs are and what our improvements are, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good, because that's not what we're about. We're so proud of what we do, and we do the best we can with what we have. And all I can say is imagine what we could do with a much better facility. So, and we want to attract that for other people coming into our town. You've seen all the growth and building that's going out there. It's crazy. So they're coming to us for this community, for our schools, and we want to give them what we are very much proud of. So, and we are proud of our schools, but we want to give them facilities. You look at the elementary school, wow. You look at the high school and the renovations in the new building, wow. Come here, not so wow. So it's and one of the other things that many people do not know, and that came out in our survey when we did this, is that were you aware that we are an upper elementary school? We are not a middle school. A middle school has minimum standards in the state, and we do not meet the minimum standards. One of those minimum standards is offering a STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts sometimes, and mathematics. We don't offer that in our school. The other portion of that was tech ed. Does everyone remember wood shop? So that's a possibility too, but we also want to move in the direction of technology. And the other thing that we do not offer is family and consumer science. So that's
Soundproofing's an issue.
Soundproofing's an issue. Yeah. Ventilation's an issue. Yeah. So those are the two main areas that we are lacking for our meet the minimum standards. So that is why we are not a middle school. We are an upper elementary school. So in our talks, in our conversations, we always say we're the middle school. We're from the middle school. We service middle school age students, but we are not a middle school. We're an upper elementary school. So what we want to do, given the feedback from our community, parents, students, staff, community members that don't have kids in the school, we want to offer them what we think our community deserves. A well-rounded, upgraded middle school. So we want to share with you what our concerns are with our building, and is it back to you?
I think it's, we're going to break off to the tours at this point. So we will ask that everyone be back here in this room by 7. Our tour guides are going to lead us on a tour of the building. I'm thinking we can probably break into 2 or 3 groups based on the number of people. And again, I'll read out loud what these areas are just so everybody has a general context, but the gym, the areas that they're going to highlight are the size, the seating capacity. We talked about the distance to the sidelines, and you're literally sitting in the court, the stage size, and the storage. In this room here, the lack of storage, you can see the mats over here, the acoustics, which we just witnessed, and then the modular classrooms. So that's where the unified arts are right now. You have your music, you have health, you have your library, of all things, is out in a modular, which is really the heart of the school in many locations, and then the band. And so not only are there security concerns, but imagine walking out there right now in the rain. You have to get fully suited up in rain gear, or you're soaking wet by the time you get to class. And then we're lacking... Yeah, exactly. Most people don't do that. We've already talked about the lack of STEM or STEAM, so that's science, technology, engineering, arts, math. If we ever say an acronym and you don't know what it is, please raise your hand. We tend to not remember that we speak in acronyms. The other one is FCS, Family Consumer Science. And the other thing to build on the fact that this is an upper elementary and not a middle is there's a teaming structure here. Classes are instructed, you have a teaming model, but you don't have the learning communities to support those teams. And so the biggest transition from elementary to middle school, what we're trying to help students with, is still have that sense of community, have that sense of security with the small group of students that they're with, and having that family, if you will, because they're going from a one-on-one with their one teacher to now this idea they have multiple teachers. And so we see a lot of teaming areas. We can really help foster that independence in a comfortable, secure way, and also foster good socialization. As you walk through, I challenge you to find those places in this school. The administration, security vestibule, really lacking a lobby, so there's no place to receive people once they come in, which contributes to that congestion. And then there's really no areas for confidentiality, both in the admin as well as the counselor area. And there's one conference room for the entire school, and it's quite small. So you'll see that on your tour. And then classrooms, we've gone over a lot of this. So you have the lack of the elevator, the ADA issues we spoke about. You'll see a lot of programming, sharing space in a very confined space. We already talked about the team common spaces. And then there's no space outside the classroom to kind of pull students out and work with them one-on-one. And then we talked about lack of climate control. So our wonderful tour guides are going to highlight those areas throughout the building. And I'll ask that you break up into groups of 2 or 3 and have our tour guides take it from there.
Beauty of our gym.
And we did, and there was not your level of awareness.
Thank you.
Okay, so as you guys know, this is the gym. And so one of the problems that we have is the seating capacity when we have games or events within the school. So I know that when I have basketball games, the gym gets really packed and we barely have enough seats for everyone. So a lot of times people end up lining up along the sidelines, which interferes with the game. So that's pretty big. What? Oh yeah.
So we have a very small gym, as you can see, and whenever someone's playing a basketball game, the people have to wait to go across the bleachers until the game shifts to the other side, and then they basically have to run across so they don't interfere with the game. Because if someone's on the outside passing it in, no one can walk through. Yeah, so our court is very undersized for a regular basketball court. Like the 3-point line is very close to the basket, which can also interfere with the game. And then also, we have cheerleaders lined up all the way along that side. So I've witnessed many cheerleaders that have been gotten hit in the head with the ball, and then they're all screaming, and it just distracts the whole game. And we would put them on our very undersized stage, but when you pull out the partitions, they actually come over the line, so kids playing basketball will get hit with the ball. Not with the ball, the partition thing that comes out. Also, we don't have very much storage. We have 2 closets, and then the last closet is our gym teacher's office. So he doesn't have any privacy or quiet when he's working.
This is our gym teacher's closet. That's his office. Yes.
And during basketball season, while we're practicing, he's trying to work in there while all the balls are bouncing around him. It's probably really distracting.
Yeah, there's limited privacy for him when we're practicing.
And then that door leads down to the girls' locker room. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
Any questions about the gym?
Yeah, how about assemblies, girls? Can you fit everybody in here during
Oh,
assemblies?
if we can, the max amount of people we can usually fit in here is like 1 grade. And even then, that's a bit tight.
Yeah, we
So
usually have to
everybody
sit on the
else-
floor.
Everybody else is sit on the floor.
Any more questions about the gym?
How often do we meet as a whole school?
Rarely.
At the end of the year, maybe once.
Yeah.
For like a whole
Because
time.
we have no time or no space to
Yeah.
house all of the people.
Yeah. 0 times. Never. Ever.
How about the temperature in here? Is it fairly well controlled? Or?
It gets hot in here.
During basketball season, I know the
Even
heat
that's
was
winter
pumping
time.
here one time, and a lot of the girls felt like they were gonna pass out. It was bad. And then when it's snowing in the morning, kids have to walk all the way through there, and they have to sit in here, and it gets a little dusty over there, and it's just bad.
It's very dirty. And also, even if we open the doors, the ventilation, it won't ventilate through the whole gym, so it gets very hot in here.
Even when it's the dead of winter, and we don't even have any heat running. It still gets very hot in here when you have a large amount of people.
So what about awards assemblies?
Oh, so usually at like the end of trimesters or at each month we have like student of the month assemblies or student of the trimester assemblies where we have like each grade come in, and it's still very cramped in here when we have everyone coming in because we have students coming down from the bleachers to receive their awards, and since it's so crowded it takes them quite a long time to come down.
Is there enough space for all the parents to sit there?
When it's parents and students, there's no space for anyone.
Usually they have to sit on chairs right here, or they have to like take the middle area, which squishes it even more.
Yeah, or we have to sit on the floor.
Yeah, that usually happens.
So let's move on to the cat. Unless anyone else has any more questions.
As you walk by here, we said this is one of our only restrooms that can fit the wheelchairs. Yeah, these are like one of our only 2 wheelchair accessible bathrooms that wheelchairs can fit through because the rest of them are very narrow hallways that lead to a small door to the bathrooms.
The third one is the nurse's room, so it's these 2 and then the nurse's room.
And so if a student has to come, they have to come all the way down here to use the bathroom.
The other thing to remember too is that when we have, the community uses our building a lot too, and they have access to these 2 areas, and this is our only public restrooms. So, and they're one toilet, 1 sink in each room, so there's usually a line that takes quite a while.
So should we go into the cat?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyone wants to see, you may not have experienced it. You know, it's boring. Get visuals. I like visuals.
Okay, so one major problem here is the acoustics and like the sound in here. So when a grade is eating lunch, it's very loud. You can hear the grade all the way down to the end of the hallway to where the classes are. So when there's classes going, you can hear kids in here like being loud and everything, and the sound quality and like the way it blocks out the sound isn't great either.
Another very obvious problem we have is the cheer mats and the chairs against the walls because we don't have storage for those, so they're just in the way of, because our lines go through the side and those 2 doors on the side of the wall right there. So we kind of have to squish by, and it's not very safe, especially for emergency situations. If we had to like go through, it'd be very cramped.
And then we have recently switched to the gym for our dances, but most of our dances would be in here, and it gets extremely hot because there's not much like ventilation. There's like a bunch of heat just coming in, and even like lunch in the summer, it gets really hot in here.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
So we limit the amount of students that can attend the dances?
Yeah, at one point this year, we were having a semi-formal, and we had to limit the amount of students that were able to come
Because we thought it was going to be in the cap.
Yeah, we couldn't fit everyone in here.
I think something else important to note is the community also uses this building.
Yeah.
So during cheer season and wrestle season, they move these tables out and roll the mats out and put them back. And so there's a lot of moving of furniture because there's no space for after-school activities either.
Yeah.
So, having a bigger space, you don't have to do as much of that.
Do they hold any of the meets in here, or is it always?
They hold meets in the gym. Yeah, they just practice in here.
I mean, it's not exactly safe either because they put up all the tables and push them to the sides, and they're trying to have their practice, do the different drills and stuff, and it's interesting to watch.
So you're saying that some of what they're not doing is a roll plastic?
Yep. For the ones in the plastic are the wrestling, and then the ones that are rolled up are the cheerleading. And they roll them out and roll them back up every time.
Yeah. You can also
We have no storage for them, so they sit there.
You can also catch many times in basketball, if we have games, the cheerleaders will sometimes move into the gym, and they have to take those mats and roll them all the way out there and go through the hallway and into the gym, which blocks a lot of people that are trying to get through.
Any more questions?
There was a request
see the locker rooms.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good idea. Let's
Just go into the locker room. Do you think everyone's gonna be able to fit in there? Not really sure. Before we enter, the locker rooms. Yeah. The locker rooms double up as the fallout shelter if there was ever an emergency for the whole town would go in there, right? Yeah. So, Miss Monken, the whole town would go in there, right?
Oh, is it locked?
No. That's what happens with most of the doors here with the humidity.
Okay, so you guys can follow us down into the basement.
It can also be very awkward because there's nice echo, so you can hear the boys yelling too in their locker. So we'll have to
This is way nicer than when I was here.
So, you guys can take a look around, but yeah. Start talking.
the combinations and the locks even work.
No, most of them stay locked, and some of the students we can't even fit our clothes. This is the boys' locker room, but for most of the students we cannot even fit our clothing in there because the lockers either don't close or like not everything fits.
Right.
Yeah, most of
Okay.
it's just
Or
leave
close.
their clothes
Usually
on
don't
the
close.
Also,
Hand-me-downs from the high school.
so one main problem is there's not really privacy in here besides for the bathroom. And
There's a bench, like there's one bench.
Yeah. For like everyone to share while there's like 20 plus kids in here changing for a gym class or for a sporting event.
Lockers aren't sized for sporting events.
Yes. And this is bigger. This is more open than the girls' locker room. The girls' locker room has these stalls, and we'll show you in a second. But yeah.
You might want to get
oh yeah, this is the bathroom.
That's it.
There's one stall. And a urinal. Very small.
and very not updated, so the showers.
I've never seen anybody use the showers.
That's unsanitary.
And there's one bench.
The bench that was over on that
Oh,
side
yeah.
was pulled up and destroyed.
So you see the piping in the ceilings, it looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
a jungle gym for 12-years.
Yeah.
This is where
This is
one
pretty
of
much
the,
around our whole school.
speaking of.
Like, even in classrooms.
Absolutely, have
We-
it right over there.
Yep, we just had it, we had, that's our hot water pipe, a kid was pulling on it, came down and broke, and thankfully no one was hurt. Yeah. All right.
Okay, we'll show you guys the girls' locker room next.
It might be to like kind of give you around.
Alright, so. Okay, so as you enter, you can already tell that there's less space in here. It's basically just a giant square with a bunch of stalls in the center. And some of these stalls at like one point didn't even have curtains on them. So basically they were just there for you to stand in.
At least we have curtains and areas that we can change privately.
But when there's like 20 plus kids down here changing for like either a sporting event or gym class, it's very cramped and there's not enough stalls for everyone to change at the same time, which causes students to be late for certain classes.
In the fall, we could sometimes have cross country, field hockey, and girls soccer all trying to change down here. And there's just like bags everywhere, like girls trying to tie their shoes here. Some girls have to like change in the wide open back here or like in the corner over there. And then we have the bathroom. So it's one stall.
And the door doesn't lock either.
There's only one stall and it doesn't lock.
Are there doors?
Oh yeah, it doesn't lock.
Yeah.
So not very accessible
At least the boys have a door now.
and very tiny. And it's very cramped with just us in here. So you can tell how much it would be with like 3 sporting teams in here at once. So yeah. Anybody have any questions?
Does anyone use the showers?
No.
Like,
I don't even.
Never heard.
I've never seen or heard like anyone.
Oh yeah,
use
there's
them.
showers in here.
Yeah, there's some nice. Yeah. Some of them don't even have like a drain, so yeah.
Wait, does that one?
Yeah. No, this one. Yeah.
Yeah, no one uses the showers.
Oh, they work. I've never seen that before.
Wow.
And I feel like that would like the splashing and stuff would like get girls wet while they're trying to change too.
Also, we don't even have enough time to take a shower.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, let's go up into the gym. And
as you can see, the wires, the pipes and
Yeah.
stuff are here again.
Yeah, these pipes are throughout our whole school on our ceiling. You can they're
like the main
exposed
accessory.
even in classrooms. So oh, just wait until you get to the bathrooms. Like you can't even like you literally can't even spread your arms without holding.
And talking about the bathrooms, like I can barely fit my body through the door. The teacher bathrooms.
It says to go outside, but we can just go down.
just go down and then
classrooms.
classrooms?
Yeah, do a few classrooms and make our way outside.
So we're gonna take you guys past the office, the nurse's room, and then guide you guys to our classrooms.
So this like so this kind of security area and lobby was just recently added to the school like a couple years, like 2 years ago maybe, or this year, yeah.
This summer, 2 years.
And
Not last
So these are the kind of improvements we want to be making in our school.
but it's kind of small. Like if you have multiple parents trying to pick up their kids or drop off things,
Or at
there's only a few chairs and like it's kind of hard to
We're
get
at the
through.
Student of the Month assemblies when a lot of parents come in. There's not a lot of space.
And then when we have dances, we usually exit from here, and the hallways are always cramped, or when they're dropping off students, people come in here and then they go that way to check in, and it's so crowded because we have no area to put like everyone at one time.
It is, it's an essential hot box too.
Mhm.
Once the sun comes beaming in, not any ventilation in there, so. Usually it's 1 or 2 people, parents waiting or something like that, but in the morning when we have tardy kids, we have lines coming out the door, literally, waiting, and when we have events where we invite parents, this is kind of the holding area, and it can't be because there's no room. So.
And if students are coming down for an assembly and parents are coming too, it's very crowded in the narrow hallways.
Take your life in your own hands.
Also, when we have 8th grade and 7th grade coming back from lunch, because we switch, 8th grade goes in and then 7th grade comes back, the hallways are super crowded because we have 1 grade coming all at the same time and 1 grade going the opposite way. So it's crowded in the hallways.
Right.
Just
So
like
about
when-
320 students in this hallway all at the same time going opposite directions.
Just when we're like waiting for lunch, there's a huge line that comes down here, and it's very noisy, and there's a lot of
Disruptive.
pushing and shoving to get to the front.
Because you guys are hungry.
Okay, so now we're going to take a little bit of a walk to the office. So
Well, we'll come back after.
We'll come-
On the way back, we'll stop.
Okay, we'll stop at the office. Okay. Should we stop at the nurse? Keep going.
Keep going that way.
No, we gotta keep going. Hey, wait, stop here. We'll talk about the bathrooms. Okay. So, if you look to your right, these are our bathrooms, our student bathrooms. There is the boys, and this is the girls. And when you walk down the hallways, they're super cramped, and kids with wheelchairs cannot fit down this hallway. So these are the closest bathrooms to the classrooms on this end of the building.
Yeah. So they're not ADA compliant. So like if you put your arms out like this is like how wide the hallway has to be for like a wheelchair to fit, and it's obviously not big enough.
Yeah. And inside of the bathrooms, there's the 3.
Go.
Oh, knock it off. Okay. Welcome to our humble home.
So
but this toilet leaks and it gets all over the floor.
So when it flushes, by the end of the day, there's water going all through that drain, which is not ideal.
Tends to be very claustrophobic.
The girls' room shows a little bit more space in there, but I mean useless space. Basically a crowd, so you guys can all hang out and talk, right? In the boys' room, there's significantly less space as well. So, and I will say it's not exactly spring fresh in there.
It gets really hot in there too.
Yeah, and there's no ventilation.
It doesn't really lead to it.
So then this is the OT, PT, and speech room.
Go right in.
It's very small.
You notice that there's no window either. But actually, we have a taped on window.
And all the storage is here.
Just like
Bookshelves on the wall. They don't have their own office or anything.
So there's no privacy for students when they're doing PT or OT. So everyone's just all in one room, and there's no privacy for each student.
Yeah, and usually, sometimes the PT students have to go through the hallways and stuff, and sometimes they get embarrassed.
And there's also no
They wanna
lighting
have
in here,
their
like
own
natural
space.
lighting, so there's no windows, so we
You'll
take
also
one.
notice this is a danger hazard because there's all of our electrical panels right here, which could also be dangerous if they get near them and start touching them.
Because students are able to reach those and access that, so.
That's the mail room. So you'll also notice that basically everywhere you go, there's nice piping from the ceiling
And that's
wires everywhere.
That's throughout all classrooms and all of the hallways within the school. So we'll take you to some of the
That's the staff room.
classrooms.
They sometimes eat lunch in there.
Does anybody have any questions about the bathroom or the OT, PT, and speech rooms?
Did you show this room?
That's the mail.
Oh yeah, the mail room.
The mailroom and the coffee room, so this is the only kind of work space for teachers. You can see it's fairly crowded. There's not really any space for them to actually work, so they can copy, they can get their mail, but most of when they want to do die cuts or bulletin boards or collate papers if they need to, or put together projects, it's all done in the classroom because they don't have a workspace. And then the other area is their lunchroom, and that's another area that's fairly
How many staff, faculty are there?
total about 75.
How big is that room?
They don't have lunch at the same time, but it's not very large, yeah. So we do have a lot of faculty that will eat lunch in
They
their
do?
own.
Do you think the
classrooms, yeah.
majority of the?
I would say, the majority of faculty they eat together, but in a classroom. One grade level team will eat down here. Instructional assistants eat down here. We have staff breakfasts, so when you have a staff of 75, it's kind of grab your stuff and go back and hang out. So we have a staff breakfast at the end of the month every month, and we can maybe fit about 20 people in there, not comfortably. And so we're trying to obviously build community and culture with our staff too, and it's very difficult to do when we don't have the space.
Yeah. And as you notice, there's no common wing or any area that the teams can meet at. So it's either a whole grade-wide assembly, or we have to meet in 2 separate classrooms, or all separately in our wind blocks or something like that. Yeah. So we can't collaborate as a whole team.
What's your team name?
Team Mighty.
Team Mighty. What does that mean to you?
So we all came up to it. So basically, in the beginning of the year, we all collaborated together and we voted on what different leadership qualities that make us come together as a team. So we chose Mighty because.
Also, a nice fun fact, we are first going to be the Mighty Moose because our social studies teacher, Mrs. Bryant, does not believe in moose. So we wanted to do that, but it was just shortened to Team Mighty.
So since that collaboration that you did as your team, has there been any update of what it means to be a member of Team Mighty?
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't really explain that. That's why I kind of stopped.
That is what is missing with that team model and building a team with the students and the staff. So we pull them together at the beginning of the year, and then the meaning of Team Mighty is not as prominent as it was in September. So.
so should you show Miss Montaigne's room?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take you to the 8th grade downstairs English room. Because this has Okay, so as you enter, you can probably see there are there's shelves, bins, tables, and a bunch of books over there, like cluttered around the room. And so most of these bins are, Miss Lamontagne, she's the National Junior Honor Society advisor, and so she has a lot of these bins around the room that associate with the group. And there's not a specific closet or area that we can keep any of that in, so she's forced or has to keep it in her room, which kind of takes away from spots where students are able to sit.
We have a lot of club advisors throughout our school, and there is no storage. So a lot of what they do, our club has the art room, but storage for those different projects is there. But chess club, there's no chess club storage. Drama club, those with the huge props and everything, they end up being in our classrooms because we have no place to put them.
Also, Miss Lamontagne was saying how it'd be nice if all English classes and all math classes and so on could have their closet together, because sometimes the 7th grade graders have like a curriculum on something Miss Lamontagne can share books with and stuff, and she doesn't have any way of knowing or keeping those somewhere where they can easily
So often we have many 7th
those.
graders or other mixed grades coming down to our classrooms to borrow some of our books, which also
Is
kind of
disruptive.
affects
So Mrs. Lamontagne would like, or the English department would like an English area, a math area to store all the supplies and the curriculum that we have, so we can share those things. And that's something that we don't have. So we're interrupting classrooms and saying, where's that book? I don't know where that book is. Can I borrow this? Who has it? Is it in Mrs. Lamontagne's room? Is it in Mrs. Branco's room? Is it? So you're doing a school-wide search. If we just had a storage area, that would be nice. And a workplace would be
So this is mid-1970s,
60s.
mid-1960s.
Yeah, it was 65.
And how different is the population of the school, student staff, than at that time, do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah. And was it designed for teens at all? Or
It was not.
It was just...
It was, there was no, middle school teen model is, it's in my generation, I guess. But,
Something in the last 50 years.
Yes, yeah, something that was not prominent.
So
Not
it was just fundamentally designed for different
Yeah,
construct.
for self-contained, honestly.
Yeah,
For self-contained or junior high model where they're just switching classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's different than what we are doing.
Does anybody have any questions?
Now, are those closets behind those shelves?
Yes, those
They open.
they open, but in order to open them, we would have to move all of the shelves.
Right. Okay.
But then the ones
Oh.
that she mainly uses are
No, not these.
those ones.
So they're
over there.
back to back, so she
Yeah.
has those, and then the opposite
Oh, okay.
classroom has
Oh,
that
yeah.
side.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And most of the curriculum books are stored in the closet also.
Okay.
So let's work our way up to the modulars.
This is the 7th grade science room. So it's supposed to be a science lab area with sinks, so that way when students are doing experiments and projects and other things, they will have water access inside of the classroom. And as you can see, there's no sinks around there. So when the students are working with different chemicals or projects, last year we did a borax project and we didn't really have anywhere to empty that. So
I think the 8th grade downstairs science classroom is the only science room fully equipped with the sinks.
yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure that might should have been a sink, but I don't think it was fully set up yet. And last year I was in this classroom, this team, and we tried to have a few team meetings in here, but things were just too cramped. It never really worked out either. Yeah, trying to fit a whole 80, 90 kids in there is very small.
This is a portable podium, so it's not a sink that works.
So yeah, there's no sinks.
That one over there is portable as well. So we were trying to build in, there's different models that you can use underneath those cabinets. There's a catch basin for water, but we don't, it's
It doesn't.
Very difficult to do that.
Yeah, it's not the most ideal.
Nope, it's not.
Okay. So, any questions about here? No? Okay, so we're going to take you guys, we'll pass it down through this hallway, so if you guys have any like comments or questions or concerns, just like let us know. But we're going to start heading outside so we can show you the portables, which has our library, our general music, our band, and our health classes.
And more bathrooms also.
Kind of the same situation as what we saw before.
That's the boys'
Oh, yeah.
bathroom. And we have this, our closet. So we call it Narnia because it's very cramped.
Yeah. So basically, so we have a leadership little closet in here. So we store many of the leadership materials and supplies, and so we have recycling bins in there. So once we have 4 recycling bins, and they're like all on wheels. So they're the larger trash cans. So you can't even like go into the closet when everything's in there because it's so packed. It's also very small. It's like about the size of the width of
It goes underneath the stairs too, so there's not much space for that. Now we're gonna head outside. Does anybody have any questions about that?
And when it's raining, this is what many kids have to experience every day when they have heat out in the portables, and a lot of them get soaking wet. And when you're trying to come in, there's an alarm system that the office has to like buzz you in, and sometimes kids get wet because they can't all fit under.
Okay, so when you enter, this is our health room.
So if people are waiting in here for the class to leave, if they're let out more early than the other class, then we have to cram into this little section.
So
that is one good point to mention because there is basically no transition time for unified arts. The 8th grade, the 7th grade goes at 9:30. They come out here, and then at 9:30.
Yeah.
9:30, 10:15. 10:15 is the end of their class, and 10:15 is the beginning of the next class. So there's no transition time.
So everyone is just
So they are
cramming
just-
into that small
Yeah.
entry area.
Also, as you can tell, there's no real storage space besides the small closets.
The portable one. And then also when you're in here, the next to here is the general music room. So when we're trying to like talk about a topic in here or listen to a video, you can hear the music playing in there, and it's very distracting
That's
when you're
especially
trying to learn.
Yeah, that's especially distracting for the library, which is right there.
When
You
students
can't
are trying to
really
read.
or concentrate in there with the music playing.
And we're also trying a new thing in music where we actually video ourselves playing the guitar, and not everybody can fit in there. So sometimes we have to actually switch with the library people, so we can go in the library, and then the library kids have to go into music, which can also like interfere with what they're learning with.
Yeah. Okay, let's move into the music then. How's the HVAC?
Out here, this is like the one saving grace that they have out here. Is this
Yeah.
This is air conditioning.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice to come here.
It's
Like
nice.
when it's
And
hot.
every student gets a chance to come out here.
Yeah.
So Stacy, we have about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, please, we have 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll just finish up in here. The band portable's nice, so. Okay, so this is the general music room. So as you can see, it's pretty small, and all the students have like a guitar or ukulele, you're sitting down in the seats, and you're basically hitting the person next to you with your guitar.
Yeah, and as you can tell, there's no storage, basically, again. And when we're playing the guitars, it might be disruptive to, like, hear everyone else playing if we're trying to do our own personal assessments. So, yeah, that's kind of a struggle.
Ladies, let's walk through the library and then go to the band room, do a flyby the band room because it's really nice.
The band room, yeah, I like the band room. That one's actually.
I don't think we get anything more at the band room just to
Yeah.
peek in and come.
Yeah.
There's a lot of seating in here. Yeah, but it'd be helpful to have more space for the books and everything. Yeah, because there are many books.
Go ahead, ladies. Right out.
Should we go up this way so that way the band we can just easily walk to it? Okay.
Compared to the elementary school library, I was so surprised at how small this was.
These are all the amount of books that we have.
How often do you guys come to the
It's
library?
really a bit hard to sit morning.
Just had to do this for homework, so.
So there's nothing to say about
Yeah, this is the newest addition to our school, so it's the portable. I do band, and I have to say that I really enjoy it because we have these practice rooms over here where we get to go in when we want to do individual sessions with Mrs. Saunders, and it makes it really easy because those ones are soundproof, so you cannot hear what goes in and what comes out of there. So yeah, this is. Yeah, there's 2 bathrooms. There's a student and staff bathroom.
But there's not next door, correct?
Right, there's no bathrooms in the portable, so when students want to go to the bathroom, they have to leave and go enter the building to use the bathroom. Okay.
And this is very large. Like
Yeah.
the other, we wish the other music room could be like this. So yeah, this is our newest addition.
Now,
Yeah.
does she still use the stage for anything? or is that-
No, that's not used for mostly a band thing anymore. It's kind of like storage for other.
Just general stuff?
Yeah.
We
Just
have
need
a
storage.
talent show. Actually, I haven't had a talent show this year, but we've done different things on the stage where we do.
Concerts? Or-
No,
We have to.
we actually
Yeah.
put it on the band because the band doesn't
Yeah, we don't fit on the
the way it
stage.
is, and we have
Yeah.
patrons too that actually barely fit in when we do that. So
The band outgrew the school.
yeah,
Yeah.
So naturally
Definitely
they
did.
needed
So
to
imagine
have
this
portable.
on everything that was here on that stage. So which is I'd say maybe a third of the size, maybe even less than a third of the size.
And the 7th and 8th grade
So.
combined as a band, so that was really
And the noise
tight.
was a
Yeah,
challenge.
Mhm.
which was about 70 kids, and then the full
Yeah.
band is over 100.
Yeah. So now this is a nice facility that we have.
Yep.
So I enjoy it.
Very nice.
Okay.
So inside we have 2 minutes
All right.
to do nurse office.
Okay, and then I'll talk about the office. Yeah, the
Yeah,
nurse.
nurse
Yeah.
So this is also one of the issues. If you don't have a teacher with you, you have to press the airphone and they let you in.
I mean, sometimes you have to wait for like 5 minutes.
And usually all classes switch at the same time, like 8th grade classes. So everyone's rushing to get to this door.
You picked a good night for the
know,
weather.
we didn't even-
Prove the point.
So that's one of our staircases. This is the side staircase. And I had crutches a couple weeks ago, and I was that kid hopping up the stairs. So it wasn't ideal. Yeah, that's a 2-way. So kids are coming down from classes, and kids are going up from classes at the same time.
When I was in 6th grade, I was on crutches and I was upstairs. And there were kids passing by, knocking me down the stairs. It was just bad.
Yeah, since we don't have an elevator, there's no way for kids with wheelchairs or crutches to.
And I'm guessing there's no way that you can flow traffic between the class and the.
Yeah, it's hard because when we all switch at the same time, that's our social studies classroom. So when we're switching from social studies, we go all the way down there, and then people come this way at the same time, and people stop at their lockers, so it gets even more crowded. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's embarrassing to use that. That's why I just hop down. So up front we have our one conference room in the whole building and the nurse's office. And it's really, there's a limited space, so I went in there one time with 5 people and it was extremely crowded.
So and this is our only
Facility, yeah.
This is our only conference room. And when you want to go out, if you're on the other side, you have to push past people.
And these were newly updated too.
Yeah.
This is our nurse's office in here.
also updated.
This is also recently updated.
As you can see, there's no storage for the wheelchair, and you have
This is one of the 3 wheelchair accessible
Yeah, so
bathrooms.
this is the 3rd wheelchair accessible bathroom. So it's the 2 up in the front and then this one. So if kids are upstairs in a wheelchair, then they have to come all the way back down here just to access the bathrooms.
Yeah. And if kids are sick or anything, there's not very much
There's
privacy.
2 beds. There's
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, and then this is the nurse's office.
Have
So
you ever
this
had
is the 3rd
have
wheelchair
you ever
accessible
been here
bathroom.
where there's more than 2 kids that are just
Yeah, I went in here earlier this year because I wasn't feeling as good, and there was like 5 other students in here.
okay.
Yeah, especially there's not very
season,
not
yeah.
a lot of storage.
Okay, and then this is our office, which was also recently redone. But when you're passing the office, you can look directly through the windows, and you can see students that are in there.
Getting in trouble.
Discipline.
Yeah, or sometimes it's not even.
You never know.
Yeah, and so there's
Getting
no
an award.
privacy situation. in there, so you can just see directly towards
Their offices.
Yeah, I mean, we have windows that we could probably put shades on, but the assistant principal's office is there. But why don't you ladies walk in there so the lights will turn on?
Yeah, I'll do it.
And you can just see right in and what's going on, who might be in there.
Whoa.
Are you okay? So, and obviously our files are out in there, they're locked, but they should be in a file somewhere.
A lot of companies do that these days, they got everything open, so you can see.
My company's changing to it.
Yeah,
I work
no
from
more-
home,
no
but
more
they're,
high-
all the offices are going to
No
this
high
open.
cubicle
open
walls, everything is low
horrible.
cubicles, very, you know, they got a pane of glass that's about that high on top of the wall. It's, I don't know what it's for, but that's what they all seem to be doing.
Our philosophy of the assistant principal and I is we have an open door policy. Come in, we're pretty transparent, but if there are people that want the privacy, need the privacy,
Oh, yeah, you have
parents,
to have a room for
students,
that, yeah.
the faculty members, we don't have that availability. So, you know, you can see right into my office, unless you hide into a corner in my office, there's nothing really that it can, so people know, people talk very quickly. So, one last thing we want to highlight before we head back to the cafeteria.
This is our elevator.
There's no
So
elevator.
If there's a kid that's on a wheelchair, they must go upstairs if they're on the upstairs team. This comes out and they sit on it, and then it goes up really slow, which can be kind of embarrassing for them.
And also the flow of traffic stops completely, so no one else can come down here. So it takes up the entire stairway.
Well, most of it.
Yeah, the big light flashes too, so which is also very conspicuous, and when the light's flashing, the kids are told they can't use this, they have to go to the middle stairway.
That's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it can be embarrassing
And
for
it's also a
students.
safety issue too. I mean, that's the railing, a lot of kids use it as a railing, and if, God forbid, anyone had their hand on when they're going out.
It's the largest
We're
staircase.
late.
Yeah. Any concluding questions?
Thank you
You
guys.
guys did a wonderful job.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Please help yourself to cookies and water. I hope that you enjoyed your tours. And I just have to say the group I was in, Shaylin, did an awesome job. Thank you so much. I hope that your group had as great of a tour. So thanks again to all the lovely ladies who helped out with the tours again. But I hope that you got a feel for the school. And the school speaks for itself. Just walking around, I think, you know, if we just put a video up of what our students go through each and every day, you can see without me standing here telling you how it can negatively impact their experience here, their opportunities, their education. And as you heard again and again, we are what's considered an upper elementary school because of lack of programming when it comes to the STEM and also the FCS, which is the Family Consumer Science. And those are some of the things that hopefully with a building project we'd be able to give them the programming that they deserve. The other thing that we would like to do with the programming is really beef up the world language department as well. Give them more opportunities or longer opportunities to study world language and continue that and strengthen that program at the high school as well. So, thank you again to the students who gave their tours. I'm stalling, by the way. Lisa's working over there. Yes, I think, John, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. So in just a couple seconds, we're going to turn this over to Lisa from Harriman, and she's going to walk us through the activities that she has for us to solicit your input as we talked about at the beginning. What are your thoughts? What do you think our needs are? What do you think we can do going forward, and what would be the best direction for us to go? And Lisa's going to walk us through those activities as soon as she's ready.
Anybody have any questions out there that we might be able to answer?
There you go.
Yeah, it's tough to see. So it's going to pass in March.
There you go.
March of 2020, and we break. Okay. So then you figure. Well, we got to pass it the first time. You guys, the newbies in town don't know that it's a 40 prize for the high school.
I do remember those times. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Excellent job again for all the tour guides out there. Great tours, and thanks to the weather for making our point about how awful it is to go back and forth with the portables. I'm going to try and get through this portion relatively quickly, just so that we have enough time for the interactive exercise. If at any point I'm going too fast or you can't hear me, please just raise your hand. So quickly, where we're at in the project and sort of where we're going. So we're in the study phase right now. This is where we bring down teams of engineers and architects, and we pretty much analyze the building. What is here, what you have for wall assemblies. As Bill was saying, you have about an R5 for your insulative value. Where are some of the other areas that need improvement? You have a very shallow floor-to-floor height as well. As you notice, a lot of your systems are exposed, and a lot of that is to make it feel bigger in the spaces. So just some challenges, but also in those are opportunities. So we're analyzing the building right now. Educational programming. We've sat down with every staff member, or at least opened ourselves up and invited every staff member to meet with us. We sent out a survey for them to fill out about the spaces they have, things that work, don't work, and then we sat in the small little conference room over there with 4 or 5 staff members at a time. We tried to meet in their teams and find out what is great about the space they have, where can we improve, and then generally in the school. So we got a lot of really great feedback. A lot of that stuff you heard here tonight already. We're looking at the site, how the site is, the existing site itself, how it works with the existing building, how that might be impacted by a renovation addition, and we're also looking at maybe what does a new school look like. These are the things that we're weighing right now, the pros and cons of those. We'll start to get into concept alternatives, and what that means is we just look at different options for the layout of the renovation addition or the new school, and how those programs work together. And then once we have those, we give them to the construction manager as well as our in-house cost estimator to find out how much those options would cost. All of that is what we call the study. So that's what we're actively working on right now, and that should be completed by the end of this summer. Why we're here tonight is before we do our designs, we want to hear from the community what really is that essence of Pelham Memorial School. What is the essence of Pelham? So we can really make sure this is your school. We want to make sure it reflects your values. Where we go from there, after the study's done and we've come out and we said we think we want a renovation addition, or we recommend as the group a renovation addition or a new school, we then start getting ready for the warrant. And so communication. The most important thing we can do is communicate to the community about this project, why you need this project, what it does not only for the students, I mean it's going to do huge things for the students, but the overall community itself as well. So we have a very active group. We have a great website. We can see it at the footer of all of our slides, pelhammemorialproject.com. You can go there for any information about the project, about upcoming events. I believe any information tonight will be there as well. So that's, there's push through social media, the website, public meetings like tonight. We have this meeting tonight. We have this same meeting next Tuesday night in reverse order. And the reason we're doing that is we know that everybody's busy. Can't always make the meetings. And the reason we'll do it in reverse order is if people could only stay for the tour tonight and not the community engagement session in the end, we flipped it so that we can accommodate as many community members as possible. So we charge each of you to come back next week with 5 friends and be a tour guide. Help us educate the community on why you need this project. So that is getting ready for the vote, getting the word out. Then we go into design and construction. So after we have a successful warrant in 2020, we go into design and construction documents. And so that's where we worked with you to get the general concept. So what are the big ideas that we want in the school? What are the key components? What are the adjacencies of program? What is the connection to outside? What are the circulation patterns with the vehicular traffic and pedestrian traffic? And then we really start to develop those designs. So we get into the details. Design development is where we try to make all of our design decisions. So again, we'll be working with different stakeholder groups and speaking with the community as to where we are in this process. At the end of design development, we all feel comfortable. We have a design that supports this community. This is Pelham Memorial School, and we roll into construction documents. What those are is those are the bid documents that we're starting to create for the contractor. And the contractor will use those documents to essentially price the school and build it. And that will go from, I'm sorry, the yellow is really, really tough to read. We'll change that next time. So from spring 2020 to summer 2023 right now is the projected schedule of when all of that design and construction will happen. Oh, look, it worked. So again, where we are, I've been over a lot of this in the last slide. The only thing that's different on this slide that I haven't talked about are the steering committee meetings. So we meet monthly with the steering committee, and that's where we make sure that we are staying on schedule, we're addressing all questions, we're making sure that we're not missing any steps. We also have RUC meetings every month as well, to where we bring the RUC up to speed on the project. So this is where we'll start to go over 21st century middle school designs. So what are those elements that we're seeing in middle schools today? One of the big things, learning communities, also team commons. We use that term very interchangeably. So anytime we say learning communities, team commons, it's essentially, we're talking about the same thing. And that is where we provide that space. As you heard a lot of the tour guides talk about, they have no place to meet with their team. So they're teaching and learning in teams, but they never get a chance to really come together and work as a team. And it's really an important transition for them to be able to be in those teams as they're moving from elementary school into a middle school model. It helps them make that transition. They feel comfortable, making sure that they know, okay, I've gone from one teacher, now I have 4, but it's also, I have this smaller group of kids in this larger school, or this larger group of students. And I'm just moving between these 4. It's all right here. It's not as massive an undertaking as then when they get to high school. STEM labs, so that's the science, technology, engineering, sometimes art, and math. And that's really a lab that allows them to take and create those synergies between all of those subjects, really hands-on project learning. Social learning. We really want to foster positive social interaction. And so creating those spaces where kids can pull off with their peer groups, interact with one another, exchange ideas and thoughts about things they're learning, making sure that we create those spaces throughout the school. Art and music, really big programs here and in all middle schools, making sure that you have appropriate spaces for those. When we get to art, it's a lot about having flexible spaces and daylight, yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt your flow, and I apologize. I'm embarrassed, but I have to go, but I'm passionate about this subject. But to me, it's obvious we need to do something. I hope we do soon, but I do have a question. On the bones of the building, is there enough that's really worth saving? I mean, I don't mean to scare any taxpayers, but when I walk through here, I scratch my head and see all the things that we're lacking. I'm looking for what's the great bones that can really be focused on to reconstruct it around. So I'm sorry.
It's great, and that's what we're going through the study for.
Yeah.
So we're analyzing.
So it's not obvious what those bones are?
Well, we can add on to this school. It's going to come down to the cost model. And is it more feasible to add on and renovate this school to give you that middle school that you need? Or is it more feasible to start new? And so that's what we're analyzing right now.
Okay. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
And so then the music, when we saw out in the portable, we have music next to library and next to health. I know our tour guides mentioned that it is almost impossible to read a book while music class is going on. So making sure that you have acoustic separation, making sure that you have the correct acoustics within the space itself. We talked a lot about the great rooms that you have in the band portable, having those individual practice rooms where you can peel off and be able to have that acoustic isolation to practice. Transparency and natural light. Natural light, there's tons of studies that talk about the connection to outdoors and natural light and the improvement that has on learning. Transparency and natural light combined, really that connection to outdoors, it really provides that welcoming atmosphere. When people feel welcome and there's natural light and just the interior of the space is really inviting, school pride is very huge here. It will increase it tenfold, and everybody is just going to take incredible care of the school because they're so proud of the way that it reflects the community. Outdoor connection, I kind of folded that one in, but really that connection to outdoors, you guys have a great outdoor learning classroom right now. There's not a great connection from the building to that. So making sure that we can foster those connections out to those spaces, make them accessible. Learning Commons, the library has started to become called the Learning Commons. The library is so much more than what we think of as a traditional library of just housing books and housing resources. You now have conference spaces, you have small group rooms, you have a lot of times the maker space or the STEM and STEAM areas off the library because you want to be able to pull technology into that and have those hands-on learning opportunities in those spaces. And then welcoming entry. So the first impression you get when you walk in the school pretty much sets the tone for you as you're going through the school. Making sure that you really have that welcoming, inviting entry. The community feels that they are welcome, the students feel welcome, everyone feels welcome to be in this school. So I'm going to quickly go through some imagery that supports all of these. When we talk about learning communities, so here's an example of a more of a pull-out space than a team commons. And so this is where creating a space to where you can pull kids out of the classroom, work with them one-on-one, give them some extra guidance, or a lot of times we see where it's a privilege to where a student's allowed to be outside the classroom working on something alone or in small teams. This is an example of a learning community in a middle school in Massachusetts. And so what the way they've designed this is all of the classrooms are around this space. And the learning community is not only this open space here with flexible seating, and you can't see it here, but it's a whiteboard and a short throw projector, but this is also part of the team space too. It's a small meeting area that's acoustically isolated from this so that you can pull off and have those small learning opportunities. And when looking at this with Stacy, we realized in order to support the teams here, it would need to be a little bit bigger because there's about 100 kids per team on average. In floor plan, this is just an example of, this would be approximately where that team's learning.
How many teams are there?
2 for each group. So 6. Yep. So here's an example of a STEM lab. So really having that hands-on project learning, access to everything from water to storage to technology to flexible outlets so they can move around the room. Social emotional learning, so providing those places that foster positive social interaction. So here's kind of a touchdown space within a corridor. This is a little bit younger grade setting here, but this is what we're seeing in middle schools and high schools today. And so this is sort of, in this school, this is an extension of their cafeteria. And this is where kids can gather in the morning with their peers. It also doubles as a lecture space. So there's a projection screen on the other wall. You can sit here and show presentations. Some schools will provide certain groups that have earned different privileges to eat on the stairs. So this is what we're seeing a lot in schools today, are just really providing those spaces where they can pull off with their peers and socialize. Art and music, making sure that we have in art specifically great natural light, access to all of the media that they need for art, and flexible workstations and storage. Transparency and natural light. So you can see in this image, by providing natural light and that connection to the outdoors, it's a really welcoming, exciting environment. Connection to outdoors, providing that outdoor learning as well. And so here's just an example of how you might use a floor plan. So you have sort of these public spaces here and the classrooms here, and just by the form that it starts to create, you create a nice outdoor learning space and can create access out to that. Learning commons, and so making sure that you have a variety of spaces within the library, comfy places to pull off with books, and for the next presentation, I'm going to replace this slide. There's another one that we have from Wentworth Intermediate in Scarborough, Maine, that has a variety of spaces that you can see. A reading area for the kids, the STEAM Center or STEAM Lab, and some conference spaces. But the Learning Commons, the library, is really the heart of the school. And your heart right now is outside your school. And so it's really a place where it's no longer just about quiet learning. It's about sharing. And it's becoming a place where students touch down in the morning, touch down in the afternoon, gather with their peers, learn from one another. So here you can see we have project spaces. We have a teaching space. Usually there's a setup so you can bring a class in and teach a unit within the Learning Commons. And you have a variety of rooms off of that. So maybe your lit coach has a pull-off space or office here, as well as small group learning. And then again, the welcoming entry, making sure that you're setting that tone around school pride and welcoming in everybody in the entry itself. So what are we here to do? What are we here doing tonight is designing the design statement. And we're going to walk you through a series of exercises that are eventually going to lead to this design statement. Not this one in particular, but yours. And for this school, it was an elementary school, and they said, look through the eyes of a child and see the wonders of the world. That was their design statement. And so literally every designer in our office, while designing the school, walked around on their knees. Because that's how we could tell how a student saw the world. It's a different perspective at that age. It's a different perspective at middle school. It's a different perspective at high school. But really engaging, trying to become part of the world in this whole sense of wonder. Everything's new. Everything's discovery. So that was the lens we used to design that school. Another example, this school took great pride in their exterior gardens. They had, their whole year was around the Harvest Fest. So they were planting their seeds, they were making their seedlings in the spring, they were doing their beds. In the fall, they were harvesting everything. They had a big ceremony around it. They were baking, they were doing all this stuff. And the community really took care of all these gardens. So when we saw that, to us, we knew right away what the essence was, but we don't want to make those assumptions. So we led them through the exercise that you're going to be led through tonight. And their design statement was a nurturing community garden where everyone grows, learns, and explores. And so with that, we're going to lead everyone through an exercise tonight. We have about 35 minutes. There are 5 boards around the room. We ask that you break yourself into groups, and we want everyone to come up with what are the words or phrases that you think capture the essence of Pelham Memorial School.
Never. The words that describe the essence of no, it's good, the essence of the home.
I guess if you're exposed to that.
We've got 5 minutes, Mark. I'm done. Sorry, I'm like, this is Mark.
All right. I will ask that each group identify a presenter and read aloud the words that you have chosen. I'm going to start with this group right here. So we'll call this group number 1. If you can write group 1 on top of your board. however you'd like to present them.
We're number one, just so you guys know.
Alright, so for our community, we think that we live in a community that has a lot of togetherness, nice small town feel with our small school district, having one building for each school.
Should she face the camera?
Oh,
Jess, if you can stand up and face this way, because the acoustics are so wonderful
on,
in
Jess.
space, we can't hear you.
Our community, small town, with a small school district, we think that this is positive. It's very together, it's a quiet community, very familiar. We think Pelham Proud should probably be in both categories. We feel that our community is proud not just of our schools, but of the town itself. You see a lot of community engagement with our larger public events that happen. Supportive, and we also feel that we live in a very transparent community where they tell us what's going on. We might not always love it, but we know there's nothing hidden. So as far as the school, it has a lot of tradition, pride. We have a very strong arts and music programs in all of the schools. I don't remember what connections was.
Like, there's a lot of connections amongst the kids and friends involved.
Yeah, so we're talking about connections and even the social emotional learning that the students are starting to embrace. We think that the teachers and the schools themselves try to foster a safe and comfortable learning environment. And we feel in particular in this building, the teachers are very resourceful and supportive of their students. We wanted to say the student who gave us our tour, I don't know where she is, but she did an awesome job of showing us the rooms, but not highlighting all the drawbacks. She would say, this is the room, but she wasn't focusing on the negatives, whereas all the adults were like, oh. But she was very proud of the school, and I thought she did a great job.
Great. Thank you, Group 1. You guys are now Group 2.
I'd like to be 1A.
Stacy, if you want to write 1A on your board, you're more than welcome.
Okay, so we went with community first. Well, this is community first. The words we're using, phrases: connected, compassionate, desire for change, welcoming, contemporary, with a growth mindset, active, in other words, outdoor active, things like that. Of course, Pelham Proud, with a hashtag.
We have a hashtag.
Supportive, and also a little bit quaint.
Oh, you guys had an extra board. Oh, shit, we stole it.
We stole number 3. They weren't here.
Overachiever.
So for the school, we actually asked one of our youngest members here, and one of the things she was interested in is gym or active. So from there, school pride, community, collaborative, relationship building, inviting, inspiring, social, safety, physical, social, emotional, developing self-awareness, imagination, experimentation, inquiry-based learning, got to be fun. I mentioned active, with a growth mindset, and of course, hashtag Pelham Proud.
Excellent. Thank you, Group 1A. If you could do me a favor and just write Group 1A, or if you want to be 2, that's fine, you can be that too. Group 3.
Okay. So we started with the essence of the school, and words that came to mind was innovative, enriching, bright and welcoming, efficient, comfortable. We want like an open environment, a focus on technology, so STEAM, conducive to learning, fostering collaborative learning and creativity.
Excellent.
And then for the community, we started writing involved, passionate, supportive, and diverse interests. And then we kind of ran out of time. But
We have next week to build on that. If you could do me a favor and just write group 3 on the top of your board, that would be awesome. Group 4.
Said that we want it to be more innovative in the future as we plan ahead. To involve the community, to be more of a place where all of the community come and gather for different events and different things. We feel that now it's not conducive for that, except for a small group, school functions just for the memorial school. So something that is more inviting for more townspeople to be able to see more of the school. Curiosity and creativity, to be able to foster that better. Be having flexible learning environments. Be welcoming and have more of a hub, a central gathering space for the children in the morning and the afternoon would be great. Have it be arts focused and STEM and STEAM focused. Another thing that was brought up was having an easy way or kind of more of a, maybe like a courtyard or some kind of a space that's not necessarily fenced in, but maybe more inviting for the kids to be able to do more outdoor things, but something that wasn't kind of unprotected or that they could just wander away from, or it's something that was keep them more contained. So with the courtyard idea we thought was nice, and also safe. For the town, we just talked about the community support and our Pelham pride that we have, and how everyone seems to be very willing and able to support different community functions and support each other, and how everyone works together, the Lions Club and the seniors, and everyone just kind of really comes together in times when there's more community-based events. So just to be able to incorporate that as well.
Thank you all for identifying words that identify your community and then Pelham Memorial School. And so that was what we just did. We reported out on those, and what we're seeing is there's a lot of overlap. There's a lot of overlap between community and school. And so what we want you to do now is vote. You get 5 dots. You get to pick the top 5 words or phrases that you think capture the essence of the new Pelham Memorial School. So we're going to get about that. You can power vote if you want. There's always a question that comes up. You can put all 5 on one, or you can spread them out. But you can vote on any board. We have 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Wait, what?
You get 5 votes. Yeah. Does everybody have dots? Everybody have dots?
Are we getting by 8?
Okay, I ask when you're done voting to get back in your groups. And one person from each group, if you can tally up the number of votes next to each word. Okay, I need each group to read out the words that have votes next to them and what the numbers are. And then we need to figure out what the top 3 or 4 words are out of all of us. So group 1. What do you want us to do? Read the words that have numbers next to them and what the numbers are.
Safe and comfortable, 9. Is someone copying this down or anything, or I'm just yelling it out?
We're listening to you right now.
Okay, I'll go in order. Community engagement, 6. Pelham Proud, 4. And then Strong Arts and Music, 2. And then coming in with 1 each is Pride, Connections, and Supporting.
Okay, so your top ones are 9 and 6. Number 9 being safe, comfortable. Warm, safe, comfortable. Okay, and then 6 is community engagement. Anybody have anything higher than 9? What is yours higher than 9?
We have a 9 that's welcoming, and then we have an 11 which is STEM and STEAM focused.
Oh, we can add our STEAM to that.
Yeah. So we have a 9 here, a 9 and 11. Any others that are 9 or 11?
Oh, 9, we have innovative.
All right, there's our top 4.
Bright and long.
9, innovative. Yours was 11, STEAM, STEM, focused, and welcoming. How's yours? And your 9 over here was safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are our top 3 to 4 words. Flip your board over. And I have to
clarifying question before you tally.
Clarifying
So some of them have repetitive ones, right? So shouldn't we be adding similar ones to see what the top ones are?
Oh,
on
yeah,
top
no,
of
that's
the
a
board?
great point. We can look at that. So,
Kind of assumed that was a given.
let's see. Anybody else have school pride?
Yes, we have pride.
How many votes for school pride?
Looks like 4 or 5. One. No, that would be Pelham Pride.
Well,
Oh,
we have
Pride. We actually have Pride.
Pride as opposed to Pelham Proud.
Would it be the same as Pelham? Shouldn't Pelham Proud?
How do people feel about school pride versus Pelham pride? Is that one and the same?
No,
Okay, so we have
Pelham
school-
Proud.
Pelham proud, school pride.
I think that's fussy about
Do we see those as interchangeable? Okay, so Pelham proud, 1 here, 2 here. So this board
We had 4 here.
has 3 for school pride. How many do you have for school pride?
Is Pelham Proud interchangeable?
Yes,
5
that's
then.
what I'm hearing.
5.
5. So plus 5. School pride or Pelham proud?
Nope.
No? Okay. So we have 8. That still doesn't tip the
Got my
scale.
eyes on you guys.
Community. Who else has community?
We have 6.
Community on 3. Community on 4. Okay. 11. You've just tipped the scale. Collaboration. Anyone have collaboration? How many on collaboration? 5. Okay, it does not tip the scale. Relationship building.
Yeah, it's not the same as collaboration.
Would relationship building and collaboration?
I don't know.
No, different.
Never mind.
I'm hearing they're different.
Is here?
Inspiring. Safety, physical, social, emotional.
Yeah, we got 9.
So 9 there. We've just added 2 over here. Who else is safety? No. All right, that takes that to 11.
Kids.
Self-awareness.
Safety's huge.
Imagination.
It's not what it's cracked up to be.
Experimentation. Inquiry-based learning environment. Fun. That should be there
School
anyway.
shouldn't be fun.
Growth mindset.
They have growth. They have growth. You guys have growth mindset.
Oh, 2.
I'm looking at one. Come on,
Okay,
1A.
So we now
Come on,
have
yeah,
on this
right.
board here, we have
It's-
2
it's
11s.
both their boards.
Any words we did not go over that are on your board?
Not that I think we'll tip the scale.
Oh, but we have strong arts and music, and they have creative over there. So
How many on creative? 8.
9, 10.
So
We got 2.
you have, where is it? Strong creative. So you had 9, you said? 8. That's close. Any other ones here that didn't jump out?
No, we capture community and supportive. I don't think we'll.
what they have one on the top that has a lot of them.
Anything over here that we
Yeah,
haven't
they
gone
get
over?
10. Innovative? I don't. We had bright and welcoming.
Do they already have
Anyone
that?
have bright and welcoming?
Oh,
Do you have welcoming? Do we find that those are?
That was 9.
Yeah, that was
9.
This is 8 and
9.
Now we got 17.
That makes 17.
17.
That's the front runner.
Bright and welcoming.
Bright and welcoming.
Right over here, Deb.
Anything else?
Innovative.
Innovative, but that was already said.
Anybody else have innovative? You have innovative. You have 3. You're now up to 12.
And then our STEAM goes to
We already
them.
do STEAM, I think we gave that.
They need
And
to add
then
that.
collaborative learning, and then creativity.
How many? You have 11 for STEAM. So
Yeah.
if you could change that to 13, because they have 2 over here. Perfect. Anybody else have collaborative learning?
Teamwork.
Creativity? Okay, so I see a 17. Anyone have higher than 17? Okay. I'm going to take one of these boards and write it on here so we all look the same. I don't think we have any large. So what was your 17? Right, right, right. Okay, what's next from 17? Who has the next highest number?
I think there was a couple of 11s
There's a
over
couple
there.
11s here.
I think STEM and STEAM were huge.
Couple 11s here. So 13 is the next one. So STEM and STEAM.
I like that kind of one with innovative.
So that's the 13. So this is, I think we decided this was 18 based on a vote we had over there. This is 13. Anybody have a 12? Yeah. Innovative. All right. Your top 3 words or phrases. Bright and welcoming. STEM and STEAM and innovative. So if everyone can flip their boards over and transcribe, or you can refer to this board if you want, those phrases on top of your board. And then you each have 2 stacks of images from the PowerPoint we presented tonight. Choose the 3 images, or turn it over and draw your own image that support those words or phrases.
What is it, bright and welcoming?
Are we picking the images that go to those 3 words?
Images that either set the words and phrases or the overall essence that you're trying to capture. Okay, I want each group to take their words and phrases and the images that they've chosen to support the essence of the Memorial School and craft your group's design statement. All right, what groups are ready? I'm sensing that group 4 is ready.
Group 1 is ready.
Oh, okay. You guys you're still talking. Well, maybe we'll do reverse order. Let's start with 4 and work our way back. Group 4. What is your design statement?
Welcoming, innovative environment that supports 21st century learning.
That can cost Are we up? Okay, so we will create a bright and welcoming space that will foster an innovative learning environment with a STEAM focus that is exciting for our students and faculty.
Excellent. Group 1A?
We're not ready.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why we're 1 and you're 1A. A learning environment where bright minds have the light to innovate.
Ooh. Creative.
I did.
Well, while we're waiting for the other group, I just want to say, and I didn't get a chance to recognize the PMS RUC committee. If you're on that committee, can you just please stand up so everyone recognizes who's on that committee and all the hard work that you've been doing to get us to this point in the years way back and getting
Candace
it to the point. Yes, Candace is busy right now. She's writing her statement. I just want to say thank you because we wouldn't be here this far without your help. So thank you for all your support and continued guidance in this great endeavor that we have. So thank you.
Minor plug. PelhamMemorialProject.com is the website. It is active and up, and there's a link for a communication link to join the communication team, which will dovetail with the community group Pelham ACES, Awareness for Community and Education Design, the one that we've been around for a while. Awareness for Community and Education Support Design. I got it in my head. And we're going to need people and bodies because we got a long haul to go here to promote this project in the school district. So I tried to arrange a meeting and then I didn't realize it was Memorial Day weekend. So keep an eye out from the beginning of June for an organizational meeting. You can go a couple places. It'll be on this website. We'll also put it on a Facebook page called Pelham Memorial Project. Go on there, and it's kind of a closed group, but anybody can join. I know that's weird, but and then that's a place where we'll be having conversations and discussions on. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Group 1A. Suspense is building.
We're laggers.
What do we have?
Nothing we like.
Oh.
We're not impressed with our outcome.
Okay, while they're still talking, the next steps are we will take these design statements. We will take the design statements from next week. We will compare and contrast the similarities and craft a unified design statement from all 4 or 8, however many we end up with, and communicate that back out to everyone as the design statement that you all have created, and really just captured the essence of the design moving forward. And that will be the thread throughout this entire process. So I thank all of you for coming out tonight, and please, please get the word out. We want as much community input and buy-in as possible. That's how you make this as successful a project as possible. With that, Group 1A, are we ready? Not yet, okay.
Do you think we should?
Got a teacher and a wordsmith over there.
Yes.
Do you think we should vote on the design or the what did we just write? Design statements to see which one people favor more? Because
we could do that if there's statements that people are gravitating towards that other groups have done. We can definitely do that.
Okay.
I don't know where or how, but we'll just thinking about that.
And what we'll
We'll have to figure out.
Maybe what we can do is get the vote of this group here based on these. We can get the vote of the next one, and we can take the front runners. We can create one from there or vote on those. Yes, 1A is ready.
Okay. An innovative design that fosters a bright and welcoming environment that allows a student to experiment and explore.
Awesome. Okay, let's do a quick raise of hands. How many of you are supporters of the 1A being your top choice for a design statement?
Did you hear it or did you not hear it?
Want me to read it, Tom?
I gotta practice. Innovative design that fosters a bright and welcoming environment which allows a student to experiment and explore.
All right, group 1.
Then it was a learning environment where bright minds have the light to innovate. She's one for that one.
I like ours too.
Raise your hand. I'm seeing about 3 people in support of that. All right. Group 3.
Oh, you want to?
Yeah, read it again.
Sorry.
It might be that we need
It's a little long.
There's a divide.
Oh, okay. Ours is a little long, but it says, we will create a bright and welcoming space that will foster an innovative learning environment with a STEAM focus that is exciting for our students and faculty.
A welcoming, innovative environment that supports 21st century learning.
Okay. Any of those? Any hands for the group 4? I'm getting the sense that people are here and we kind of want to look at a combined statement. There doesn't seem to be a front runner. So let's do that. Let's take all the boards, make sure that you write your group number at the top. And we will take all of them from both nights and come back with a proposed design statement.
Thank you, Lisa and Harriman. Thank you so much for putting this together.
Thank you.